Hello dear students, today we are going to discuss the unemployment and Phillips curve, these concepts we have to explain and Nairo etc. So we start with the what is unemployment, okay. So all these are connected variables, unemployment, Nairo, Phillips curve, and then different types of unemployment and Phillips inflation. So these are all connected variables which we will be discussing together, but there is some connection. In order to explain that, we have put it together, okay. Now you go to what is unemployment. So as you know, unemployment is already I have taught you, but I am just briefing it. But is one of the basic macroeconomic problem, and if you look at India, unemployment is increasing, especially during the season of COVID. It has been increasing, okay. So the unemployed are those who are looking to work and are willing to work but cannot find it at the going wage rate. So this is called, as I have explained this, as the situation of involuntary unemployment, which is said by Keynes, okay. So unemployment can be discussed, it could be examined both in physical terms and economic terms. What do you mean in physical terms? Physical terms means unemployment is equal to population minus employed people, okay. So population minus employed people, this is cannot be considered as a real problem of unemployment, because there are so many people comes there in the population who are unable to work. So the real measure could be the economic terms, that is U, that is workforce minus employed people. Hello, പാർലറിലോട്ട് പോവാ, പാർലറിലോട്ട് വരാൻ നിങ്ങൾ ഇരുന്നോടത്ത് എത്തിയോ? Okay. So workforce unemployment, real economic terms, it is equal to workforce minus employed people. So in economic terms, you can take into consideration all the people who are in the workforce, which means they are able to work, seeking for a job. These are the two at the prevailing wage rate. This is called workforce. Among that, if you deduct the employed people, you will get the economic terms, what is called unemployment, okay. So workforce means people, population minus people not in workforce. So only people who are in the workforce, it is calculated under workforce, under calculated under an economic terms of unemployment, okay. Now who are these people not in workforce? So the population altogether includes children, students, chronically sick people, retired, etc. എന്താ അറിയാ? Okay. So there are people not in workforce. This includes children, students, chronically sick people, retired persons, etc. So you see, when you calculate population unemployment on the basis of physical terms, so these categories also are included there. So economic terms are more reliable terms for measuring unemployment, because they exclude these people, students, children, chronically sick people, retired persons, etc. Okay, and then we calculate the rate of unemployment. How do you calculate rate of unemployment? This is very essential for you to calculate what is the rate of unemployment. See, how do you calculate rate of unemployment? That means how many percentage of people out of the total workforce is unemployed, okay. So now you see, U, small letter U, that is the rate of unemployment rate, is equal to U, that is people who are unemployed divided by people who are in the workforce into 100. You will get the rate of unemployment, okay. So we can say the labor force is the sum of the employed and unemployed people. So at the rate of unemployment is the proportion of labor force that is unemployed, right? So accordingly, you have U is equal to unemployed people divided by labor force, that means which includes both employed and unemployed, into 100. You will get the rate of unemployment, okay. The reference period could vary from a week to 4 weeks to a year. Such an approach works well when an activity status is invariant within the reference period. Either the person is employed, unemployed, or out of labor force. So when you look at measures of unemployment in India, you will see that weekly there is a current status of unemployment, daily status, weekly status, about different duration time period is given in order to measure the rate of unemployment. So you can see here in India you have this unemployment employment data. Surveys are conducted by NSS, that is National Sample Survey Organization, and beginning with the 27th round in 1970 to 73, labor force surveys have been conducted every 5 years, okay, using standardized concept and procedures based on the recommendations of the committee of expert, that is a planning commission 1970 says that. So every 5 years you will get the data on employment and unemployment, okay. Now, unemployment is measured through labor force surveys which elicit activity status of the respondent for a given reference period, which we have already seen that. The first, the respondent is identified as not working. Second, for those not working, typical question is the form of, are you available for work? And have you made some effort to find work during the last how many days? That is based on the reference. X is the reference period, or maybe last 1 week or 14 days or last 1 month, etc. They will ask. Those who answer in the affirmative are the unemployed, while those who answer in the negative are the people who have opted out of the labor force. So in India we have a usual status unemployment is there. That is, usual status unemployment measure is defined with respect to a reference period of an year. Okay, multiple activity status issue, which is more acute, longer the reference period is resolved on the basis of majority of the time. Multiple activity status issue, which is more acute, longer the reference period is resolved on the basis of the majority time. Okay, this criterion is used first to classify a person as they are belonging to a labor force, that is employed or unemployed, or not belonging to the belonging to the labor force. That is the first criterion. Okay, and then if the person belongs to the labor force, then whether the person is to be classified as employed or unemployed is decided once again on majority of time. How many time means how long they are employed. Clearly, the usual status measure reflects only long unemployment spells. So it is with respect to 1 year. That is called usual status unemployment. Okay. Then you have weekly status unemployment. The survey also uses a reference period of a week to compute a weekly status unemployment measure. Here a person is regarded as employed if she or he worked for at least 1 hour during the reference week. 1 hour. Okay. It follows that a person is unemployed if she or he did not work for even 1 hour during the reference week and sought work or was available for work during the reference week. Okay, they didn't get 1 hour of unemployment, and they are considered as the weekly status unemployed people. Okay, the weekly status measure captures short unemployment periods and it ignores unemployment for less than a week. Okay, less than a week. Now next one is daily status rate of unemployment. The NSS employment survey elicits an individual's time disposition during each day of reference week. A day is split between 2 half units and an individual is assigned a unique activity or status for that period rather than a reference week. Okay. Now this information can be used to compute person days of unemployment in the compute the percentage rate of unemployment in the country. A person's days of unemployment in the country. As households are surveyed uniformly throughout the year, the aggregate derived from the weekly data are representative of the annual aggregates. Now the daily status rate unemployment is the proportion of labor force that is unemployed, and also in person days. Okay, so that is so you have usually status, weekly status and weekly status. So how many is we have a usual status, weekly status and daily status measure of unemployment. Okay, now let us discuss the long run versus short run unemployment. Long run unemployment is known as natural rate of unemployment, and short-term unemployment is known as cyclical rate of unemployment. So what is natural rate of unemployment? The amount of unemployment that the economy normally experiences and does not go away on its own even in the long run. That we are going to discuss in detail. That is comes to non-acceleration inflation rate of unemployment. We are going to discuss in detail. But what it is in the gist, in a gist, it is amount of unemployment that the economy normally experiences and it does not go away on its own even in the long run. So any economy there will be some percentage people who are unemployed or some percentage of unemployment will be there, and that unemployment is known as natural rate of unemployment. What is cyclical unemployment? It is associated with the short-term ups and downs of the business cycles and refers to the year-to-year fluctuations in unemployment around this natural rate. So, around the natural rate, the unemployment fluctuates, okay, ups and down. It increases, it decreases, etc. So, that is known as cyclical unemployment with respect to the short-term ups and downs, that is business cycle, okay. So unemployment related to business cycle, which are short term, that is why it is known as cyclical unemployment. Okay. Now let us define what are the different types of unemployment. This we have already discussed. I am just giving you one more time so that you will learn. It is associated with this chapter also, this module also. So unemployment is distinguished as voluntary and involuntary, open and hidden. There are two major categories of unemployment is there, voluntary and involuntary, open and hidden. What is voluntary unemployment? We have already seen in the when you studied the classical theory of unemployment. You have studied voluntary means willful unemployment. You have seen NSS volunteers, na voluntary ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്യില്ല. Voluntary ആയിട്ട് unemployed ആയിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാരെയാണ് willful unemployment. So that's called voluntary unemployment. That means I am choosing to be unemployed on my own account, my own will. So it is known as voluntary or willful unemployment. These people do not want to go for work. Please don't confuse with the involuntary unemployment. Okay, voluntary unemployment people are this is called willful unemployment because they do not want to go for work because they maybe the reason is they have plenty of wealth or they have some other sources of income. Whatever be the reason, they do not want to go for work. That's called voluntary unemployment. Voluntary unemployment is not a problem for the economy because these people do not want to work. That's all, because they have enough means to live. Second type of unemployment is involuntary unemployment. What is this? This is that major problem in every economy faces. People are willing to work at current wage or even less, but simply they cannot find a job. So I have given another definition. These people are qualified, willing to work at the current wage or even less than that, but they cannot find a job at the prevailing wage rate without any delay. So this is known as involuntary unemployment, and this is a problem for every economy. And this is the problem precisely that the economy should tackle or should focus to reduce the problem of involuntary unemployment. Okay, so the first major category of unemployment is over. Second is we have discussed open and frictional unemployment. So open unemployment comprises of frictional, cyclical and structural unemployment. Okay, open unemployment comprises of frictional, cyclical and structural unemployment. And hidden unemployment consists of disguised unemployment, seasonal unemployment and underemployment. All that we have discussed in detail, but again I am going to discuss at least one. So frictional unemployment. What is frictional unemployment? Men are out of work temporarily because of lack of mobility on the part of the laborer, can be one reason. Unemployment caused when people move from one job to another, from job to job, as some industries are rising, some are declining in a dynamic economy. So men are out of work temporarily due to immobility of labor, seasonal work, shortage of materials, breakdown of machinery and ignorance of the job seekers. So this kind of so whatever, it is very essential to understand this unemployment is it exists only for a temporary period because of these reasons. That is called frictional unemployment. It comes under open unemployment. Then Next one is cyclical unemployment. What is that? It is associated with the short-term ups and downs of the business cycle and refers to the year-to-year fluctuations in the unemployment around this natural rate. During recessions and depressions it happens. Basic problem is that firms are producing less. An example is the Great Depression, so much unemployment caused and severe unemployment was there. That example is given. The next one is structural unemployment. This unemployment is caused as a result of decline of industries and the inability of former employees to move into jobs being created in new industries because they need skill. So it is caused by mismatch between vacancies and skills of the unemployed people. Vacancies are there but skills are not matching. So it is caused by mismatch of location of the unemployed and the vacancies. Some areas it will be flourishing industries will be there, but then vacancies they cannot fill in that vacancies. So it is caused by the structural changes in the economy. Okay. Next one is technological unemployment. And unemployment caused when development in the technology replace human effort. Example in manufacturing, administration, etc. Technology is replacing the people. So that causes also unemployment, that is known as technological unemployment. Then you have types of unemployment, hidden. Okay, seasonal unemployment. This is a hidden unemployment. Unemployment caused because of the seasonal nature of employment such as tourism, skiing, cricketers, beach lifeguards, etc. Okay, the demand for lifeguard services tends to exist in the summer but nothing as much as in the winter, as an example of seasonal unemployment. Okay, then you have something called demand deficient. That is Keynes says that this unemployment is caused by general lack of demand in the economy. This type of unemployment may be widespread across a range of industries and sectors. Keynes saw unemployment as primarily as a lack of demand in the economy, which could be influenced by the government. So a fall in aggregate demand can lead to decline in the spending, forcing business across the economy into closing, with the damaging effects on employment as a result. Okay. Then you have short-run and long-run unemployment, which is sort of classical. The theory says that short-run unemployment is a temporary phenomenon. Wages will fall and the labor market will move back into equilibrium. That is what classical theory says. So there is no short-run unemployment. If at all there is a unemployment, that unemployment long-run exists at also voluntary type, not involuntary unemployment, because you have seen the classical theories. According to classical theory, economy is always in the state of equilibrium and economy is always at the state of full employment. Okay, so there is a unemployment is not there. Coming to Keynes. See, okay. So unemployment, according to Keynesian unemployment is the long run may remain stubbornly high because of imperfections in the market, sticky wages, etc. So Keynes said that the involuntary unemployment exists and because of the reasons such as sticky wages and imperfections in the market, etc. Okay. Now, having discussed the unemployment, there are some economic cost of unemployment. What is the economic cost of unemployment? So, economic cost of unemployment is discussed under GDP gap and Okun's law. So, Okun's law describes what is the economic cost of unemployment in terms of GDP gap. Now, what is the basic loss of unemployment? Okay. So, cost of unemployment is the foregone output. Loss of unemployment, I think you have to write the cost of unemployment. Okay. Basic cost of unemployment. Cost. Loss of unemployment is what? Basic cost of unemployment is the foregone output. Foregone output means whenever there is unemployment, people are not able to work. Yes, when people are not able to work, they cannot produce anything. So the basic cost of unemployment is the foregone output, the output that is sacrificed or output that could not be produced. Okay, this is a set of goods and services that is forever lost. So when unemployment is there, a set of goods and services that could be produced with the help of these laborers is forever lost. So in that case, what happens? We will be producing inside the PPC. You have seen the PPC? PPC, have you seen the PPC? So two goods, capital goods and consumer goods, any point on the PPC says that an efficient allocation of resources and economy can produce using the available resources. Okay. So if there is a output cannot be produced or output is lost because of the unemployment, what does it mean? Which means we are not utilizing our entire labor resources, also natural resources. So what happens? We will be producing inside the PPC. And then if you produce inside the PPC, which means we measure this as the GDP gap. What is GDP gap? The economy can produce any point on the PPC, but the economy is producing something less than the target. That is called the GDP gap. So what is GDP gap? Potential GDP is the capacity of the economy assuming natural rate of unemployment. The growth of the potential GDP assumes a normal growth rate of the potential GDP assumes a normal growth rate of the real GDP. But because of the unemployment, what happens? The unemployment, the actual output, actual real GDP falls short of the potential GDP, or actual GDP falls short of the potential GDP, and that is what is called as GDP gap. The amount by which actual GDP falls short of potential GDP is known as GDP gap. Okay, and here comes the relevance of Okun's law. The economist just says that there is there's a phenomena called GDP gap, and Okun's law measures how much is the output lost as a result of unemployment. Okay, so Arthur Okun is the first one to quantify this idea. What is that? The loss of output as a result of unemployment. Okay, and he says for every 1% unemployment exceeds the natural rate. Okay, natural rate, of course every economy has got some natural rate of unemployment, and if in that from that natural rate, for every 1% unemployment exceeds that of the natural rate, what happens? Approximately a 2% of GDP gap occurs. You see, for 1% unemployment rate exceeds that of the natural rate. So you don't mix up with the natural rate. Natural rate of unemployment will be there in any economy. So if the unemployment exceeds the natural rate, what is going to happen? If 1% unemployment exceeds the natural rate, then what happens? 2% of GDP gap occurs. Okay, so that is the quantifier. The Okuns quantified this relationship. So what does it mean? Higher the unemployment rate, larger the GDP gap. That is known as Okun's law. So Okun's law quantifies the relationship between the GDP gap, okay, and the unemployment. And he found that every 1% of unemployment that exceeds the natural rate, 2% of GDP gap occurs for every 1% of unemployment that exceeds the natural rate. And so he can say correctly, higher the unemployment rate, the larger is the GDP gap. So this is the economic cost of unemployment that is measured by Okun's law. Economic cost of unemployment is measured by Okun's law. We have also some social cost of unemployment. Which are they? Non-economic cost of unemployment is called social cost of unemployment. Okay, cyclical unemployment when high causes social problems. Which are they? People out of work become depressed and crime rates rise. Okay. Second, violence in the home rises as well as because of the frustration factor. as well because of the frustration factor. Then what happens? Third, families suffer and often fall apart. Destruction of the family takes place. Okay, and severe depression can cause major political and social change. The Great Depression programs of New Deal changed American thinking about the role of government in aiding citizens when they are needy. Okay, aiding citizens, not adding, aiding citizens. Crime rates move with the business cycle, rising during periods high unemployment and falling during periods of low unemployment. These unemployment. These are all the studies. Okay, so they have analyzed what happens to the crime during the business cycle, and they have found that so crime rates increases as a result of unemployment increases, means crime rates also increases. And during the period of business cycle, during the periods of high unemployment and falling during the periods of low unemployment. So crime rates also is related with the business cycle. You see, they have studied like that. So there is also economic cost, and we learned under the economic cost what is that, Okun's law. And we have also social cost of unemployment, and unemployment is the most severe problem that an economy faces, because as you know, when unemployment occurs, people are under, you see, so many crimes rate is increasing, families suffer, human resources are on, people will commit suicide, crime rates increases. All these are social cost of unemployment. So every economy's target should be how to reduce unemployment. And a government that do not take effort to reduce unemployment definitely will face the fall. They may not win next time, but then the chaos that economy causes, that a government causes for the economy, is it cannot be quantified because it is all round. Okay, students. So in the next class we will see Phillips curve, and then related with that the topics. Okay.